iPhone 14 Pro Max after 24 hours. So, let's get to it. What's up, Lollipop? My name is Joe, and in today's video, I would like to tell you my experience with the iPhone 14 Pro Max after 24 hours of use. To be fair, after 36 hours of use, but nonetheless, it's approximately a day of use with different kind of stuff. I hadn't had the chance to test it thoroughly enough to give you a full review. This is basically my first impressions, my experience with the phone after 24 hours. In any regards, I want to talk about 5 things in this video that are very, very important for me in a new phone. 1 is the design and the look of the phone. 2, the display. 3, the power of the phone or the processor or whatever you want to call it. 4 is the camera, and 5 is the battery. But since this was only 24 hours, I can't really tell you anything much about the battery because I've only been at home. It's not a real live test. I will be doing a full day battery test next week, so if you want to see that, stay tuned, subscribe, because it's going to come. It's going to be a travel video where I go with an airplane, use GPS all day, use the maps, take photos, so it's an intense, very, very cool all-day battery test that will give you an estimation of what the Pro Max can do. Also, what I didn't really have a chance to test out is the camera. While I did do a lot of photos, so far I don't see such a big difference between the 13 Pro Max and the 14 Pro Max, so I need to go into that a little bit more intensively. What I did realize is the design, the screen, and the dynamic island, and of course the processor and what it can do for me. I have my iPhone 13 Pro Max over here, and this phone has served me well for 1 year. And the first thing is I didn't really like the Sierra Blue when it was announced. I ordered it, and when I opened the box, I was like, wow, this is amazing, I love it, and I fell in love with it from the first moment. I was the same way with the Deep Purple. I ordered it, I didn't really like it. I opened the box and I was like, meh, I like my Sierra Blue a lot better. I liked last year's color a lot more than I like this year's color. The space gray, the silver, and the gold are boring, and I really don't like that Apple only brings out one color now, and obviously they're going to bring out another color in March, and that's going to be a great color, so people, might be upgrading to that if they're in the market for buying a new iPhone. But nonetheless, I didn't like it at first when I opened the box. Then I spent a day with it. And on the first day, it wasn't so sunny here where I live. And the next day, it was. And when I saw the phone in sunlight, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty nice. When it gets a little bit lighter, I'm actually kind of in love with this phone, and I like how it looks. Now, a very important thing you need to know is the iPhone 13 Pro Max cases are not good for this phone. So all of the cases I have go to the trash, or I have to resell them or something, but they are not compatible because there's a bigger camera island and there's buttons on the side are a little bit misplaced, so you need new everything. But I mean, if you're on a 13 Pro Max, you're not going to upgrade to the 14 Pro Max. Why? Because it's not worth it. At least that's my first day impressions, thoughts. It's not worth upgrading, not worth paying $1,100 for it, or in some cases in Europe, you can pay $1,500 for it and even more. But if you do need new cases, then I suggest you go to Best iPhone Accessories, where you're going to find all iPhone 14, iPhone 13, iPhone 12, actually all iPhone cases and accessories. So bestiphoneaccessories.com. That is bestiphoneaccessories.com. So probably you're not going to lose your cases for now. People who are upgrading from an iPhone 11, maybe an iPhone 12, not necessarily the Pro, but the 12, can think about upgrading to this phone because it is a big difference to those phones. Just like the iPhone 13, 14 differences, the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the 14 Pro Max don't show a lot of differences in terms of performance. They're very, very similar. And Apple knew this already as they compared the A16 Bionic chip to the A13 Bionic chip, which is a 3-year-old chip at this point. But once you open the box, once you turn on the phone, the dynamic island greets you, which for the first 2 hours I was in love with. Actually, to be honest, I'm still in love with it. But I want more interactions to happen with the dynamic island. I want more status things up there. I want more notifications up there. I want my messages, if I get a message, to have a very small notification up there, or I want it to see move. It has such beautiful animations. It has so much thought and precise engineering go into it. It's a lot of times I feel that it's not utilizing the potential of the dynamic island as much as it could. I cannot wait for live activities. I think that's going to be a great thing up there, especially when sports events are happening and maybe you're watching the NFL or NBA and you can see the live scores up there. That's a great feature. Sadly, that only comes in iOS 16, and until then, what I realized that in a day, I use the dynamic island maybe 10 minutes max, and the rest of the day, it's just a punch hole camera with a pill-shaped cutout that's connected via software, and it's not really utilized. And it got me pissed off as well. The reason being is a lot of YouTubers and a lot of YouTube channels switched from 16:9 to 16:10. And in the 16:10, this new camera island, dynamic island, cuts into the video. The standard content is fine, but the 16:10 aspect ratio gets cut into, and it's hideous, and I don't like it, and it bothers me. The notch only bothered me when I put it to full screen. It was like kind of weird. This bothers me less in full screen, but when it's in 16:10, it really bothers me, and I really don't know how I feel about it, and I don't think anyone is going to change how they put their YouTube videos up. Just like you see, I put my videos up in 16:10 as well, and if you're watching from my iPhone 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max, yes, you have the cutout right there, and it's annoying. All in all, it's very important to say that this phone is still a review in process. Continuing on the screen, it's very important to say that this is a 2000 nit screen, which I had the chance to try out outside in the sun for about 15 minutes, and yes, it was brighter than the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but it wasn't anything special to me. It wasn't like, wow, I can see everything really clearly. The interesting thing, and I know you guys can relate, is when I put this phone into the car on the dashboard where it has direct sunlight and I turn on the GPS and I'm charging it wirelessly, I wonder how long it can keep up with the 2000 nits. I don't think for long, because maybe, but again, only after a day. I cannot say how hot it gets or how cool it keeps itself. We'll see in a further review, definitely. Now, the always-on display is cool. I love it, and I hate it at the same time. I love it because it's unique. I can see all my stuff there at any time, but I constantly have the feeling of my phone being on, and so far, I don't know how it's like with the battery life. I will be letting you know on that, but yeah, I don't know how much I like seeing my wallpaper all the time. I did switch my wallpaper to a pure black wallpaper on my lock screen, but then when I unlock my phone, it's very, very boring, and I would love to see my other cool wallpapers over there. I wish there was just a switch somewhere in the settings where you could turn off wallpapers on the always on display. That would be fantastic. And once you move the phone or something happens to it, you could see the wallpaper fade in from dark into very low light and then into the full brightness when you open the phone. Just like the animation there is right now, that it goes from dark to light. It could go from nothing to dark to light. It would be, I think, one of the best solutions all in all. Anyway, so that is my first day opinion of this phone. The battery, I will do a test separately for you guys, so stay tuned for that. As for the camera, I will be doing more tests, but I need to tell you that the whole video was shot on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So yes, this camera that I'm using is the 48 megapixel camera. It is 4K, 25 FPS. This is the quality. I tried not to change any colors, not to manipulate it other than cropping into it properly, but this is the raw footage from an iPhone 14 Pro Max. I want to know what you guys think. Thank you very much for watching. Until my next video, stay safe and hang loose.